Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Reckless Paradise podcast. I am your host, Dystro, and tonight's episode is another Throwback Thursday episode. But it is over an AEW pay-per-view. This one's kind of a shocker to a lot of people because we usually talk about WWE pay-per-views on this channel. But I figured, kind of go back in time 4 years ago, to September 2021 when people were just starting to come back into the crowds and all that stuff. And decided to rewatch All Out 2021. Um, Looking back on this pay per view and all that stuff, it was like less than it was a little over 4 years ago. It would be coming up this year as the 4 year anniversary since I had watched it. And I still have I guess the pre-match jitters and like high hopes and lowest of lows going into the show. Um, and I still, have the goosebumps from when I watched it 4 years ago. So let's just kind of dive right on in. So the first match was Miro versus Eddie Kingston for the TNT title. I could still say that this match still kicks ass, a little over 4 years later. I love seeing both men brawl. I would have liked to see Eddie Kingston with the title belt. But having Miro going up against Eddie Kingston, it's two brawlers. And they could have done maybe like a last man standing or like falls count anywhere or something. Or maybe like no holds barred. That would have been cool to see. But nonetheless, like Eddie Kingston is like one of those people that is very loved by the crowd. Miro, on the other hand, is like he's loved, but he's also hated by the crowd. Um, which I mean, Miro's run as TNT champion was like a good, I guess, starting off point for him. Because when he was first coming into AEW, they paired him with like Kip Sabian and all that shit. And then he started to do the Redeemer gimmick and all that stuff, and God's favorite champion and all that stuff, and he held it for a good long while. And then he and then like, he's had like some very good like matches with some bigger dudes than him. But it would have been nice to see Eddie Kingston with the TNT title belt. Like I said, but I did give this match like I'm gonna base it on like a 5-star rating sort of thing. Um, but nonetheless, I gave it like a 4 out of 5. It was a good way to get the crowd hyped for the rest of the show, including this next match too, which was Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima, which is crazy. It was like a match that was added like last minute, which was kind of crazy, I guess. And also freaking rolled. Plus there was like a lot of good back and forth between like Kojima and Moxley, and plus it was two guys that can work that Japanese style. Also with like Miro and Kingston as well. Um, and it was good to see like Kojima doing Kojima things, just getting the crowd hyped and all that stuff. And plus Moxley wins with the paradigm shift, like two paradigm shifts. And and it really just it didn't disappoint at all. And plus that was like another 4 out of 5 star match right there. But then after that was like Minoru Suzuki, which was like kind of crazy that he had gotten his whole entrance this time and didn't get cut off, you know. Um, and then it like goes into when Suzuki was gonna face Moxley on Homecoming in Ohio for Moxley's return, which was kind of cool. Um, then the next match was Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker. Um, Both women looked really good here too. And plus for the women's title. And this is when Chris Statlander was start like still part of the best friends faction and all that stuff. When you had like Chuck Taylor, OC, and Yuta on good terms. Now look at like 4 years later and look where they're at now. Wheeler's kind of like on top of his game right now, so is OC and Chris Statlander. They're like really good like main event kind of level talents right now, which is kind of good to see because they're in good hands, obviously. Um, plus like there's some good heel work from Britt right here in this match too, and we had saw like a young Jamie Hayter before she got injured, and Rebel, the former like makeup hairstylist turned wrestler and all that stuff. Um, I thought it was kind of funny that OC, who is not really much big fan of like many words and all that stuff, he was telling Chris to like get the hell in there, get the hell in there, and all that stuff, and like get the that was a huge pop from the crowd. Um, but and this is like when Chris Statlander was still an alien, which was kind of crazy. Um, it was a good match though. I give it like 3.5 out of 5. It wasn't the one of the other women's matches that was later on in the card just didn't really do anything for me. Um, but then fourth match on the card. This was to me still my favorite match of the night. Is Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team titles in a steel cage. Um, this is like just good old tag team classic wrestling. And the steel cage element kind of added like a good caveat for it because like there was lots of interference from previous encounters between Young Bucks in their tag title matches with Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows and in the club or the elite, I should say. Um, I think I remember. I think I remember the one of the Dynamites. I think it was before Full Gear. I think. It was like a 10-man all-star tag, and it was like Kenny, the Bucks, and Gallows and Anderson versus Hangman and the Dark Order, which was like really really good. I wish they could just given Hangman and the Dark Order that win there, but you gotta keep the heels looking strong. But it was still like a really good match, par told. And plus it was like good to see like Phoenix kind of just like some crazy ass shit. There was lots of like Canadian destroyers, Abram destroyers. The shoe with thumbtacks on it was brought into play, got people bloodied and all that stuff. And plus it was like the drama was high. It was like very very high, and I'm actually kind of glad that I got to rewatch this match back because this was the crux of this whole episode. To just watch this match back, and I'm actually kind of glad that I did. And I still was riding high, that high from like less than from 4 years ago. It was plus it was like match of the night for me. Because like the next match was like a casino battle royale for a women's title shot, and plus it was just literally just to get every woman on the card, and that sucks because it's just like a lot of these women have a lot of stuff to prove, and it's just like oh like we're just gonna put you in this battle royal for a women's title shot, and plus it was the person that went from the other company to this company and she wins it, and it kind of just sucks for a lot of women. Um, but I still say like that battle royal was not bad. Um, I just wish I think they could have like done like a gauntlet or something. Give some of these women some time and all that stuff at that time. Um, but I digress. I would say the steel cage match for me was a 5 out of 5, and then the women's title shot, or the women's casino battle royale was a 3 out of 5 for me. Um, so then we go into the Jericho versus MGF, the final fight. This match was good actually. Um, I just can't believe they kind of did like they did on Dynamite before, but they could have just saved it for the pay-per-view instead of like having it on free TV, have a bullshit finish, and they're like, oh well, like we're just gonna put it on the pay-per-view, and people are gonna be like, oh well, Jericho's winning then because MJF won the last one. So it was a it was a lengthy feud between Inner Circle and the Pinnacle at that time, during the summer of violence, which I remember that summer. Um, and it, like I said, like it should have been somebody else for the fifth labor of Jericho. but the falsy ref fuck up was actually kind of cool. And plus Aubrey Edwards is like the awesome lady. And Jericho is still like in this business to this day. Many years later. Um, I gave it a three out of like 3 point. I think I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It seems low because it's a Jericho MJF match, but I know MJF has better matches down the line in store for him, and so does Jericho. But it's like you gave it away on free TV, and then you do it on pay-per-view. It's like it just doesn't really work out for me. So the next match, which is seventh on the card, this one kind of lived up to the hype, is CM Punk versus Darby Allin. Um, CM Punk walked away in 2014. He didn't wrestle for 7 years and all this. And he comes back on Rampage, of all places, Rampage to announce his reinvigoration for the wrestling business, and he has his first opponent, which is Darby Allin. To see where Darby has come from in the 4 years that had from this pay per view. He is one of the four pillars and all that stuff on this brand and on this company. And plus, there was like a lot of good back and forth between Darby and Punk too. There was lots of false finishes between both. And plus, we got like Punk coming back from 7 years from retirement and just being like like kicking ass and all that stuff. And he's still wrestling to this day, which is kind of cool. And plus, Darby doesn't really suffer from a loss to Punk because he's gonna keep doing his thing. So I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. Um, and then there's the cool down match. We have QT Marshall versus Paul White. I mean, it's basically a piss break match. It's like it's a blink and you'll miss it sort of thing. Not really much to say here. It's really just like show or Paul White just gets rid of the factory and then like just choke slams Marshall and then just boom, it's just one and done. Um, yeah, it was not really much of a match. I really hate to say that, but it's like they used Paul White for really nothing. Um, and it gets over like QT being like this total shithead and all that stuff, and it's just like what? Um, but yeah, it was just not really much of a match. So we're on to the main event, which is the Kenny Omega versus Christian Cage for the AEW World Title. This main event was actually really great. This was when Kenny Omega was the belt collector at this time too. Like he was the Impact World Champion. He was a Triple A Mega Champion. I think he was another champion, in another company. Um, but one of the key points of this match was not the. It was like one of the finish, but it was a um, top rope move, and I was like, oh shit, like what I was like, what are they gonna do? It was a top rope one winged angel, which literally killed Christian Cage. And plus, there's nobody that's been able to kick out of the one winged angel except for Hangman Page later. Um, and then it was a really good main event, and it goes over like Christian defeating Kenny Omega for the Impact World Title on Rampage, and then like maybe he can get it done. He can get that done the second time, and it just kind of like lots of interference and all that stuff. And um, but then surprises did not stop there. Kenny's just doing his spiel, doing the goodbye bang and good night, and then you see the lights go out, and then you hear Adam Cole, Bebe, and all that stuff, and you think, oh, well, like, he's gonna come and save the day and rescue Jungle Boy and all that stuff. Well, he super kicks the hell out of Jungle Boy, and then after that, you get the American Dragon. You get two surprises back to back. Um, I felt kind of rushed to me as a fan just watching it for the first like for that whole pay per view. Um, but it was actually kind of cool to see Cole and Brian in a company that will literally give them like uh, that push or that I guess like that level of respect that they really deserve. And plus, like Cole's like getting back with his elite buddies and all that stuff, and it was actually kind of cool to see. Um, but yeah, and the main event was actually kind of cool too. It was a really good main event. It started off good with Miro and Eddie. It started picking up a little bit of steam, and then when we get to the women's casino battle royale and then the Jericho MJF match, it kind of fell off a little bit for me. But then it rode that high again. Then the cool down match, and then it rode high again. It's a very roller coaster of a show, and that's in the good way possible. But yeah, I actually was kind of glad that I got to watch this back after 4 years. 4 years later. Well, actually, it's not 4 years yet, but in September it will be 4 years. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. What do you think of this kind of format? It's kind of like a, I guess, if you want to call it like a in 15 minutes or less sort of like review of a show that I have watched. Maybe if I have more time in the future, maybe I could do like maybe 20 or 25 minutes or less. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. What you think about this format. So, with that being said, thank you very, 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 very much for watching and or listening. If you made it to the end of this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow us on all social medias and go into the link tree in the description below, which will take you to our Instagram pages, Twitter pages, Reddit pages, my gaming YouTube channel, this podcast Reddit page, and what else? What else? What else? Going into into March, and this is coming out today on March 6th. Next week's episode is gonna be something Green Day related, and is another. It's a random ranking episode. So you want to stay tuned to that. But tonight's song of the night is Jimmy Eat World, and it is Bleed American. And I think there is a music video for it. And if you have not heard of Jimmy Eat World, you've got to be under a rock, listening to something. But yeah, that is gonna be it for this episode tonight. And yeah, go listen to Jimmy Eat World, Bleed American, and that's it. And I'll see you next week for a random ranking Green Day edition. Peace.